Hello and welcome to another episode of Tai'Shar, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am Will.
I'm Sam.
Today we are continuing in the Great Hunt. Before we get started, I always want to remind you that you can support our podcast by visiting our website at tsmpodcast.com, clicking on the little yellow donate button at the top left. And you can choose to either donate on a regular basis or give a once-only gift by selecting yearly and remind me, and then it'll just send you a reminder, and you can ignore that. But even if you're not going to donate, you know what? We're just glad you're here, and thanks so much for joining us today. Sam is going to be walking us through. So, Sam, why don't you take it away?
Right, chapter 32, Dangerous Words. So the crew goes to Baltanis. I can't even say his name. I swear I said Balthanes every time when I read it. So Balthanes Manor.
Sure.
Only a group of 10 because apparently any more than that would be suspicious or something.
Sus, as the kids say.
Yeah, right. Perrin and the others didn't go. Ingtar goes to add prestige. Loyal, of course, is the novel token Ogier. Apparently, Ogier are sought after in Upper Kyrian nobility, whatever that means. I don't know. They want to have them over to play Parcheesi. I don't know. Build their house most likely, I suppose. I can just imagine like a Kyrian being like, "So I've got this project in mind. Could you just give me a quote? Just one quote." Huron tagged along because he's got to sniff out the Dark Friend, since we know Baltanis is a Dark Friend, probably more at his manor. Matt's along to sniff since the dagger, and nobody's gonna stop Varen from going because she's gonna do what Varen gonna do. Matt and Huron pretend to be servants, though Matt has some attitude about it. They get there, they're shown to a room with a bunch of nobles. All the nobles wear their house colors and stand in little groups together. Kind of a funny concept, like if everyone got a T-shirt made with their family seal on it or something. Yeah. The family seal like your Uncle Bob has framed in his living room.
I've got one.
You have one. Okay.
No, I straight up have one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have one. But my Uncle Bob did.
Well, I got it. I literally had it handed down to me from my paternal grandfather.
Right.
When he passed away. So yeah. So now I've got it hanging on the wall. There you go.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's I wonder how many people have that. Like, I know it's a thing. I don't know how much of it's just I don't know. If you listeners, if you have your family seal framed on a wall, or someone in your family does, we'd like to hear about it. I'm kind of curious how common that is. I bet a lot of you do have an Uncle Bob, though, one way or another.
Yeah.
It seems a lot more likely. So a servant named Ashin announces them to lots of whispers. I mean, Tanai Sedai and Ogier, a bunch of Shinarans. No surprise. People notice Rand's heron-marked blade as well. Rand wishes they could stay together, but Loyal says they have to split up to avoid suspicion, while Matt and Huron sniff around. Bartanis welcomes them and says, "We'll talk later." Loyal tells Rand that Bartanis Manor was built where an Ogier Grove had been, and that the last time Loyal traveled through Kyrian, it had been all forest and belonged to the king. So he tells Rand he senses a waygate and then disappears into the crowd, leaves Rand by himself with these people. Rand dodges nobles as best he can, but Bartanis corners him. Everything Rand says, Bartanis dissembles, assumes that Rand is playing Dice Damar, says Rand is too young to be a warder, so Ingtar must be Varen's warder. Rand says, "We are who we are," asks about Rand's heron-marked blade, thinks he must have been trained in the borderlands, or possibly by warders. Hey, you got one thing, right?
Right.
Observes that Rand looks like an Aiel, says the Andor royal line looks Aiel as well. Rand says, "Nah, no connection, dude." Bartanis leaves and says, "You have given me much to think on," in true Kyrian fashion. So Rand walks around and thinks he has no idea how to play the game, wants to get out of there, sees Tom reciting the Great Hunt here in the manor, so kind of gets him away to talk and tells Tom what's been happening. about Tai'Shar, the horn. It kind of just lays it all out there and asks Tom for help.
I wonder if all these times that he's walking around and he ends up hearing Tom reciting the Great Hunt, if it's like that thing that used to happen back in the days of, old cable TV, when you would always catch a movie at like the same point every time.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like how,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tremors. For me, it was always Tremors.
Tremors is, that's totally, because that was on like every station at some point. Yeah. It just seemed like there were for a while. It was Army of Darkness was on a lot,
okay. Sure.
and I would catch like, and it was almost always at the same point. Like when we turn it on, it'd be
never
like,
the beginning, right?
Never at the start of it. It was like somewhere like towards the last third of the movie, but that was always the spot that.
You're like, well, nothing else on. I know what's happening. It's a good movie. I mean, it's not a terrible movie.
Right, yeah. I'll finish it up right here.
Yeah,
so I wonder if that's what it is. Like if he keeps, it would be kind of funny if in the show, each time he comes upon Tom, he's like at the exact same spot.
right.
In his story, like the
Rand's like checking his watch. Like, I've heard this before. Come on, man.
The Wayne's World 2, the guy that is always telling the story about as for the shopkeeper and his son, they were a different story altogether.
I was trying to think of a Monty Python moment, but yeah, that's
right. That was the kind of thing I'm picturing. How they keep on coming back to that. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. Says Bertanis is a dark friend, and Tom says, well, that's a dangerous thing to say at this guy's manor, so don't say that too loud. Sheeran shows up to get Rand, take him with him. As he's leaving, Tom says the Kyrianen may play Dice Damar, but the White Tower created the game. Something you should remember, Rand. Chapter 33, A Message from the Dark. Rand follows Huron to a garden. Huron says there are dark friends and Trollocs that went in there and they haven't come back out. Huron also says that the Kyrianen servants act like they're really dedicated to their master, but they'll tell all secrets about them over beers, just kind of willing to give them up. So that's Kyrianen for you. And also it's sort of like, is this small talk, dude? I mean, we got the Trolloc thing going. Okay, whatever. They meet up with Loyal and Matt. Loyal says that Ogier stonemasons left because Galdrian stopped paying them. Matt can't sense the dagger, only that someone is watching. Rand says maybe it's because the dagger is in the chest with the horn. Man, what is in that? What is with that chest? Is it lined with kryptonite fairy dust or something?
Yeah.
It's power rot. Just power rot.
Power rot, yeah.
Somehow. In the garden, Huron sees a walled structure, says that's where the Trollocs went. Loyal says there's a way gate in there. And says this is definitely an Ogier Grove, like I said. Matt is worried that the Trollocs have taken the horn and the dagger through the ways, and he ain't going back in there. Rand says go find Varen and Ingtar. So Loyal boots him over the wall, and they follow him in. Loyal kind of scolds Rand for being too brash, as usual.
Oh, hasty.
Yeah. Rand opens the way gate with even Desora Leaf. Whoopsie, there's the devil wind waiting at the door. They hear it talking. It says, blood so sweet to drink the blood. Charming individual.
I know it's not described this way, but I picture it making noises kind of like the Nazgul, like when it opens.
Yeah, sure. Just like the whisper. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, close it up.
It's either that or it's just like a little mouth. It's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm here at the Waygate, just waiting for you guys. That's sort of, I wouldn't mind that either.
Hey, why don't you come on in here? No, you're going to kill us.
No, I'm not.
No,
I just want to be friends, man.
Dude.
Yeah. Whispers Althor a few times. So that's great. The devil wind, knows his name. Great. So Rand is not pleased by this and channels at the Waygate, making the thing shriek, which there's your shriek.
So it was there.
Yeah. Loyal puts the leaf back. No going through that Waygate at least. So, they leave. Bartenis corners Rand again on the way out. He has a message. He says, I normally don't do this sort of thing, and especially don't talk to people like this, but Yeah, here's your message. It's from Fane. He says he's going to Toman Head with the horn, and Rand has to follow him, or he'll kill you and everyone you love, yada, yada, yada.
And then Rand says, a dark friend says, what? And he's like, what? Oh, dang it.
Got me. Back at the end, they all discuss the nutso stuff that went down. I don't know why. Anytime they do like sit in the inn and talk, I'm just picturing them being in an Olive Garden, just getting breadsticks and, just pass the salad around. I don't know why. There's no reason for that, but that is just what is in my head.
Because when you're there, you're family.
Absolutely, including loyal. Yeah, for sure. Rand says Mach and Shin was standing guard. Varian says, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Nobody tells a Black Wind what to do. Ingtar says that Fane's message is a trick. But Rand's like, well, I mean, why would he lie? He's just, probably true. I don't know why he's like so willing to believe it. But Varian says that they should use the Waygate at Steading Tofu. Everyone sort of doesn't want to do, but she just Varians them into doing it, so they're going to agree to go. After everyone else leaves, Rand asks Varian why Matt is still sick. So she says, the healing didn't quite work. Even though he seems healthy, he has like a few weeks to live at most, so that's great to know. So no pressure, got to get the dagger back. Rand doesn't really buy it. He thinks that Varian is just trying to tangle him up in Aes Sedai stuff, just like Moraine. And he just kind of tells her, let's get the horn, then we're done. We're done. So on to chapter 34, The Wheel Weaves. It's Tom perspective at an inn in Kyrian. We know he's not going to stay here. Tom, buddy, you just can't settle down and be happy. I'm sorry. This isn't like literary fiction or something. It's just not like some character living his life and getting depressed every now. It's like, no, this is not what we're doing here, man. Sorry. So Tom visits the inn where Rand and company were. They've already left the Olive Garden. Good thing he did, though, because assassins paid him a visit at his inn while he was gone and killed his girlfriend. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to talk about this whole kind of thing a little bit.
Yeah, we need to talk about it a bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it's one of the few times that this early on it is this problematic.
It certainly feels Frigging-esque. I mean, the fact that Tom isn't like one of the main characters, and it's not like the thrust of the plot moving forward, so it's not quite to that degree,
right.
But certainly has that feel a little bit.
And I guess what's weird is it's so not like the rest of these books. And
yeah, you didn't even need the character of to be in there at all. Like you could just have him bumming around Kyrian and then just be like, well, okay, I'll go help Rand again.
Yeah.
Just didn't need to do it.
I mean, or he could just show up later like he does and just be like, yeah, she dumped me. I mean, like she got wise.
Right. Yeah. Even that. Exactly. Didn't have to kill her in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. It's pretty frustrating because it is the woman exists to motivate the man. Mm-hmm. It's just she's there to die. And it's
just give Tom some pathos. It's like,
right.
The dude already had enough going on. Like it didn't need to do
and
that.
I mean, I can't think of anywhere else in the entire plot where of all of these books where you have something quite so flagrant.
Right. Yeah. It brings me back to something you said a couple of episodes, Will, that the books don't really become what we think of as a Wheel of Time in the first trilogy. I mean, you have these weird moments like this. It's just like, it doesn't really fit with everything else.
Right. It feels like frustratingly, I don't know, stereotypical and tropey. I don't know what's the right word.
Yeah. It just could have cut it out.
Right.
It could have cut it out entirely. And it's like, it just didn't have an editor tell him that or something.
Yeah.
Like, it just wasn't necessary.
One of my friends here locally that I finally got her to read it, and she got to this point and kind of wanted to quit. I think she was like,
sure.
Like, this really frustrated me. And
yeah. I mean, and I'm like, fair.
Yeah, it's unusual because I mean, like Jordan's kind of has a bit of a feminist bent to his writing, if anything.
Right. Yeah, he has problematic female characters, but you can tell he's trying to empower them. He's trying to give them agency. He is a product of his time. I mean, there was no Me Too movement when he wrote these books.
Right.
But yeah, this is out of character, I would say, is a good way to put it.
Yeah. And I mean, there's not much more to say than that.
But it's just a shame.
Right. Well, I do think, and I felt like I was able to say to her at that time, like, hey, this is completely out of character of those books. I mean, just keep reading. You're not going to run into that again. And like you're saying, for the most part, while there are at times, characters that you're like, well, this person's a little this or that, for the most part, you feel like his heart's in the right place in wanting to, like you were saying, giving women agency and being in the driver's seat in relationships.
Right.
And
it's almost like he felt like he hadn't killed enough characters or something, maybe he read the first Game of Thrones book when I don't know if it had come out yet or not, but or something, to just be like, I have all these main characters, I can't kill them, I need to kill someone to, I don't know, instill a sense of realism or grittiness. Maybe
I don't know. Yeah,
speculating wildly at this point.
Right. It does feel like he was trying something. I don't know. It was,
maybe he realized it didn't work. It's like, well, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So I would be entirely okay with the show just excluding this plot line entirely. Although, have we decided that there's a character named Dina or something?
No, there is a woman that works at an inn common room named Dana.
Oh, right.
But yeah, I would say
a spin on this. There's no way they're going to do this.
Yeah, I would be very shocked. Yeah, I can't imagine the woke vibes I get from.
For sure. Yeah. Exactly. That they're if anything, they're going to err on the side of being more considerate about that kind of thing,
right?
Than less. Yeah. I'm with you. Tom kills the assassins. Before he kills the second one, he asks, why? Why'd you do it? Assassin says, because of Dice Damar. Nothing personal. Zero walks in and says, dude, you got to get out of here. Tom says he needs to kill Bartanis, but apparently he's too late. Got torn to pieces, head on a spike, like you do. Tom gives her money for Dina's funeral. She says the assassins were from the king. No way you're going to kill him. There's a fire in town and someone is burning up the granaries. Tom leaves. Zara says, be careful. And Tom says, who could I possibly be dangerous to? Oh, I mean, other than the assassins you just killed? Like, come on, man. So
the line, who would I be dangerous to, would actually be a great trailer line. Like, if you think about it,
like,
who would I be dangerous to? Cut to him
throwing a knife and killing a guy or something,
pulling a knife out, twirling it around, and stabbing a guy.
Yeah, sure. That's a good point. Trailer. Come on, Rafe.
Come on,
give us a trailer, man.
Yeah,
just teasing us. Lots of teasiness.
Yes.
So, Padon Fane is almost to Falma. He rides to meet the High Lord Turok, who says, hey, I've got the Horn of Valir here, dude. Tries to get the dagger, but Turok says, so why was that in a chest you couldn't open? Tell me your story, maybe I'll give it to you. Fane tells him his story, may or may not be true. At this moment, Fane kind of seems like the Joker to me a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Want to know how I got these scars? He says his family served Hawkwing, didn't abandon their oaths when he died, says he'll serve the Shan Chan. Turok wants to know where he found the horn. Fane says it was passed down through the generations. Turok doesn't believe him, of course, but does believe that the horn is legit, says, I'm going to present this to the Empress. But key point, he won't sound it himself because whoever does is linked to it. And if he did, he couldn't present it to the Empress. So he's 12th in the line of the throne. And if he did toot the horn, he'd be a threat. So doesn't want to be a threat to the Empress. May she live forever. Fane says that Althor is trying to get it with a bunch of dark friends.
There's a moment in this scene when... there's several times throughout the scene that Fane does something that is disrespectful to Turok.
Yeah.
And one of the lackeys
is like, I'm going to kill him.
Is like angry with him. And so like at one point he like slaps Fane one of the times for something he does. And the narration says something like, Fane then decided how that man would die.
Right.
and it's such a plain spoken
illustration of how deranged this man is.
Right, just like, okay, well, that's how I'm going to kill that guy anyway.
He's happily imagining this gruesome murder.
Yes,
that's his happy place, his murder.
Exactly. Oh man.
Oh jeez. Oh Fane, you a mess, bro. Chapter 35: Steadying Sofu. On the road, Varen wants to go fast. Ingtar thinks it's all a trap. Perrin asks Loyal if wolves can enter the steading. Loyal says only Shadow Spawn can't or won't. Also a point is that Aes Sedai can't channel in there. Matt seems eager, but definitely seems to be getting sicker. At the steading, Rand feels refreshed, but can't touch the source, as mentioned. They meet another Ogier named Aerith, who asks that some of the soldiers stay outside, but Ingtar and Huron go in with them. Loyal says that Ogier are tied to the steading, and if they stay way too long, they'll feel the longing, capital L, which causes them to become weak and die if they don't go back. Started during the breaking of the world, when they couldn't find a steading. Loyal says, I will know it when it comes, but it's a dull life to stay in the steading. Much more exciting to travel with 3 Ta'veren. Then they hear the Ogier singing, clear the fields, smooth it low, let no weed or stubble stand. Here we labor, here we toil, here the towering trees will grow. So this reminds me of the old Hobbit cartoon, and I guess the Hobbit movie a little. That is one thing I enjoyed about the first Hobbit movie was their little singing number.
Right? Yeah.
That was pretty good.
There was a lot of things I didn't like about it, but yes, that was one of those.
That was like one high point.
Right.
Rand notices a tree like a redwood. Loyal tells him it is a great tree. Capital G, capital T. There are lots of Ogier around, and Rand is envious of how carefree they all seem. Older males have mustaches and beards, whereas younger are smooth-shaven. Older Ogier females have clothes embroidered with flowers, while the younger only have embroidery on their cloaks and stuff. Younger females are clearly on the hunt. What?
I was just going to say, have we talked about how much Loyal is clearly crushing on
yes.
Aerith yet?
Yeah, no, we have not. That is very true. There's lots of ear quivering and
yes. And he's this better happen somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to see the big goofy Ogier, getting all smitten
head over heels for sure. So the Ogier houses are like grass mounds, and the windows look like they're sculpted by wind and water. There are other human guests, 3 Aiel maidens of the spear. So Ingtar starts to pull his sword out, the Aiel veil, which generally means they want to kill you. And both groups get ready for a fight. Varen and Aerith try to stop them, and Loyal says, remember the pact! Another Ogier named Juin tells them all to put up their weapons. The Aiel get embarrassed, lower their veils, and apologize. One says they felt threatened to see armed dudes in the steading. They stare at Rand in contempt because he looks like an Aiel but wears a sword. The scandal! Ingtar can't believe they stopped, says once an Aiel veils are going to kill you, so you got to kill them or they're going to kill you. Aerith says they're visiting to get sung wood. Steading Sofu has 2 tree singers, and Aerith says Steading Shangtai has a young tree singer, apparently unaware that it is Loyal. Aerith takes them to a house made for humans to wait. So Matt and Perrin think the maidens are there looking for he who comes with the dawn after their earlier encounter with the Aiel. They tell Rand about meeting him, Urian. So maybe it's Rand. Who knows? You're the only Aiel we know. Rand denies it because that's what he does these days. Ogier ladies keep bringing Loyal gifts, which makes him nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Wait, never mind. As nervous as a cat in a dog yard, according to Rand.
Oh, well,
yeah, that's
there you go.
In the book. Now we need Swan to show up and give us the fishing version. Loyal is scared one of them will want to be his wife. In Ogier culture, if a lady sees something she likes, she tells her mom or phones up the boy's mom and arranges a marriage. Matzel. Boys have no say, and if the elders discover Loyal is away from his steading without permission, they'll definitely make sure he is married off lickety-split. Matt laughs and says, among us men do the choosing. Careful there, champ. Wouldn't want to jinx yourself or anyone else.
All right.
Rand thinks his engagement with Egwene was similarly arranged after his mother died. He tells Matt that Abel Cawthon rarely did anything without his mom's permission, which shuts Matt up. Juin tells them to follow him to see the elders. Loyal says his choices are to stay and get married or travel the ways. So, on to chapter 36. Among the elders, so Rand and company try to convince the Ogier to let them enter the Steading Waygate so they can get to Toman Head. Loyal stays outside to keep a low profile since he isn't supposed to be away from Steading. The Ogier Hall is huge because the Ogier are huge. Alar is the eldest of the elders. She says, yeah, no, that place is awful and dangerous. Brings out an Ogier named Trial, who got brain damage in the ways. He can barely stand and is drooling. Varen delves him and says he is devoid of a soul. Well, that's something we'd like to avoid. Staviran boys want to travel anyway. They want to travel the ways anyway. Okay. Young in brains aren't fully developed yet. Can't assess risk.
Yeah, that is true. I actually was just talking about this the other day, that the risk assessment part of the brain is the kind of the last part to finish developing.
It's like when you're 25,
right?
Which checks out. That makes perfect sense to me.
Which is exactly why Army infantrymen are like 18 to 25.
Yep, that's right. Not cool. They meet up with the Shinarans at the Waygate. Varen opens the gate, and whoopsie daisy, there's Mockin' Shin again. Rand worries that the Black Wind is following him like a lost puppy.
Slam the door,
or I guess a possessed pig, maybe.
Yeah, I just have this picture of like opening.
Right. Yep. Sure. Yeah, not going there. Not going there. That checks out. Huron suggests using the portal stones again. Rand says he's willing to try. Varen says she'll be the one to activate it to cover for Rand and everyone else. To cover for Rand, since not everyone knows he can channel. And everyone buys it, so Varen asks Alar to take him to the portal stone. Chapter 37, What Might Be. So Alar takes him. Varen hints sort of obviously that it's time for them to go. Off you pop. Ingtar says they should go back to Kyrian to look for clues. Doubts Fane even has a horn. Varen says he's chicken. Ingtar says nobody calls me chicken. And says, let me at that portal stone. Varen and Rand go to the portal stone. So it turns out Varen has no idea how it works, which is why Rand has used one more recently than her.
That's skirting it pretty close there, Varen.
Yeah, for sure. They study the symbols for a while, and Varen tells them just pick one at random. Rely on that old
sure.
Yeah, Rand picks an arrow broken free of a circle pointing in the direction of Tomenhead. Reasonable. Then he channels, and then there's flicker. Lots of flicker.
Oh my gosh.
So Rand is back at the farmhouse, gets murdered by Trollocs. Then flicker. Rand and Egwene get married in Emmonsfield. Invaders take over the continent and kill off the Aes Sedai. Egwene becomes wisdom, but can't heal Rand from sickness and depression on account of the channeling. She dies, he gets sick, and then Trollocs attack. Rand joins the defenders, even though he's lost a few fingers, and is murdered by Trollocs. Sensing a theme here.
Right.
Egwene dies at a young age, so Rand joins the Queen's Guard. She gets a crush on Elaine, realizes he can channel, becomes a leader in the Guard. Invaders attack. Rand throws lightning at them and is killed by lightning. Oh man, no Trollocs. Lives like 100 more lives, often dying of sickness or violence. Then they land at the other side. Woo! That in-flight movie was no bueno.
So this may be, I don't know if this would be an unpopular opinion or not, and they probably won't do this, but I would actually love for them to spend a full episode on this.
Oh yeah, like just to do a bunch of alternate realities of what could be, and
maybe not. I mean, the smart money would probably be to be interweaving what's going on with the Supergirls at the same time.
Sure. So you're not just constantly one after another of these alternate
but
sliders universes.
Yeah, and I
lots of interesting imagery for sure.
Yeah, I think I want to talk about this in the spoiler section.
Okay, yeah, sure. We're almost there. Anyway, Varen states the obvious. They've all seen alternate ways their lives could have played out. Whoopsie, that trip took 4 months. Ingtar says he will walk in the light and find the horn, and is pretty disturbed about what he saw. That tells Rand he wouldn't betray him, and Perrin doesn't think they had many choices. So Varen says, all right, let's head west. And that takes us to the end of chapter 37.
Okay, I had... not terribly spoilery, but just to be safe, we are going to talk spoilers, and all spoilers will be on the table. So if you don't want to be spoiled, join us next week.
Check back in next week. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about the flicker.
Right.
So one of the things that we will talk about when we get there in this is pretty much all would just be spoilers for this book, but is when Rand fights Turok, and And you will say when we bring it up, then as you should, that it does seem like, how would he beat a Blade
He's
Master?
just not good enough. He has not had enough practice.
And maybe I should just wait to bring this up, but
that's all right.
But I was intrigued by this headcanon that somebody presented that during all these lives.
Oh, that he learned how to use the sword.
Right. Yes.
Because he lived all those lives.
Right.
Interesting.
And I was fascinated by that, as well as the effect we kind of get on the second read. We kind of are able to infer what Ingtar went through.
Yeah, sure. Just how him being a Dark Friend,
right?
Just how that played out in all the various lives, the terrible things we assume he did.
Yeah. And I mean, he tells us a little bit about it later, but
yeah, sure. No, that's a cool idea. Not we knew it took 4 months and we knew that they lived hundreds of lives, but you don't I just hadn't thought about any positive outcomes from that. I just thought everyone just sort of seems oh man, that was awful.
Right.
I don't want to do that again. But yeah, I guess if they live those lives and they remember them,
which they seem to,
then why wouldn't they also remember things that they've knowledge and skills that they picked up? And you can back that up with Rand, remembering things, ways that Lews Therin channeled, for example, or all the ways that Matt uses his previous lives memories to, be a general and stuff.
Right.
And so yeah, that actually is a pretty good answer to how Rand could beat Turok. And I like that.
And that's why I would actually like an episode where they focus on this.
Sure, really lay the groundwork for that. Because it is a heavy lift, that this guy who has been carrying around this Blade Master sword and took some lessons with a warder, beat this Blade Master, a real Blade Master. It's a problem. So yeah. You could even do it during his fight if you did it right. You could flash back to those memories. You show a scene in this Portal Stone stuff, and then you have a flashback to that same scene.
Exactly.
Lay the groundwork. That would be really cool.
Yeah. That's as I thought through, I was like, this could be a really important time to justify how much really, and you could lean on this as much as you wanted.
Yeah, this could be the get out of jail free card anytime.
Right. For the first half
Rand
the series.
Or any Rand, Matt, or Perrin does something wait a minute, they shouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's a lot of that pretty early on in the series.
It's easy to just be oh, it's Taviran, whatever. And that's that's the argument you'll hear, which has never been very satisfying to me in this specific case.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I like that. That's pretty good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. As always, we want to remind you that we love hearing from you. You can always email us at stuff@tsmpodcast.com or visit our website, tsmpodcast.com, and fill out our contact form. If you say nice things, have any questions, suggestions, considerations, criticisms even that we think we need to be addressed, we'll be glad to talk about those in an upcoming mailbag show update and or off-topic episode. We still have that YouTube channel that I think has 43 people now. If we get to 100, then we'll get a vanity URL. So let's just let's keep on dreaming that dream. And guys, like we said, if we get to 100, then we'll do a live stream. I'm ready to say, because I'm almost confident that we won't. So I'm ready to say, we definitely will do that if we get to 100.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, thanks for listening, and as always, Tai'Shar Manethrin.